Exodus chapter 2, further part of the conclusion. The book ends, this chapter ends with God hearing about the plight, or hearing the plight, the cries of the Hebrews in Egypt. You know, the Bible, I mean, I really, I just I always can, it doesn't matter how tired I am, I just can be so dead tired. And when I start thinking about the Word of God, I just get so excited. And maybe it's not the best thing, because afterwards I'm even worse tired, but it's like this adrenaline rush kind of idea, right? And but because it's just so beautiful, it's just so, you can't come up with a more intelligent story. No, I know atheists will laugh at me, but I mean, really, when you write a Hollywood scenario, you can't get up with a better truthful. I mean, the movies Hollywood make, it's just a joke. Yeah, I always like look at it and like saying, oh, that's nonsense. That doesn't work out. That's, I mean, the James Bond saying, I will uczył się w Oxfordzie, right, in one of the James Bond movies. It's so funny. I mean, you don't speak Russian like that, right? So there's so many things wrong in Hollywood movies. Factual. It's just unbelievable. I know I make mistakes here as well. And I mentioned this morning to one brother as well, where some places I speak of when the mention of the Torah, I need to use the word Torah. I say Talmud, and sometimes I mix people's names around, kind of idea. I do make mistakes, but yeah. But the Bible scenario is on all levels just perfect, right? Just on all levels. Here you have Moses. I mentioned about sojourning in. They're in the desert. He's speaking of sojourning in a foreign land. Gershom, his son's name. So did he mean Midian, or did he mean Egypt? They're speaking to, he's writing this down in the desert. So on the way to the promised land. So it's both that and here. So we speak of him surging. He's speaking of the people surging here. He's speaking of him surging. They're all surging because they're all ultimately on the way to the promised land, right? So there's that detail in there. He is living it and he's writing it down for them, the scenario of how it all worked out. But that's the truth. So you have, it seems as if everything is negative. You go to Joseph's story and all of that kind of, you see mentioned in there as well, breaks in chapters. It seems everything is negative. The people are struggling. They are crying out to God. They are enslaved in Egypt. They are being beaten up now and then. They're in Egypt as slaves, right? And the one who could do something about it, the one that they would have maybe looked up, is Moses in the palace. Maybe he's the next Joseph. And like Joseph brought us here, he can take us back because he's in the palace, right? The brother of Pharaoh, although adopted. One of us. We know how that played out. So here you have Moses in the desert, a refugee, well, not enslaved. He can't do anything. He can't do anything. They are enslaved there. The one that could do something is gone, is out, is for 40 years going to be in the desert, not being able to do anything. I mean, after 40 years, I guess they would have forgotten about this Joseph guy. This Moses guy, right? They did not, but right, God heard them. So although it seems as if there's no way out of this, again, it reminds me of books or whatever books you read, and the person is like kicked and is like held at gunpoint, and you know he's going to, in the end, destroy the, sorry about that one. You know in the end he's going to be the one to bring down the baddie that's trying to take over the world, right? Pinky in the Brain. Yeah, I watched that as well. I mean, I did. So it's like, man, will the baddies never learn? Just pull the trigger and get rid of the guy that'll bring them down. So I mean, they never learn, okay? So this is, in some other way, the movies always, when it gets to the worst part, this is so predictable. It always gets to the worst part, and then then in some miraculous way, although they don't believe in miracles in Hollywood, things work out and the problem is solved. So here, the same kind of scenario. It can't look bleaker. Right? Hollywood got their scenarios mostly from the Bible, I think, at least the parts that's true in it. And it can't look any bleaker. They are enslaved in Egypt. Their hope, one hope, is gone, is a refugee in the desert. What is God going to do? God hears them. What is God going to do? Right? So yeah, sure, when in your life as a Christian things look, it's bleakest. For example, in Myanmar at the moment, it looks as if it can't get any worse there. Like really, it looks as if it can't get any worse there. But it's looked like that before the earthquake. It looked like that before the hurricane last year. It looked like that before the typhoons. It looked like that. And it just keeps on getting worse. Keeps on getting worse. And it looks as if, but God is hearing. God is there. God knows. So for you as a Christian in your life, you feel it can't get any worse. Brothers whose daughter is now struggling through chemo for leukemia, 13-year-old, a missionary, one of our on our board of mission board. You know, it feels just how long God can this go on. When it feels really there's no exit, there's no way out. When you see darkness, no light at the end of the tunnel, and the light coming from the end is a train destroying you. Then know that, like here in this case, God, yes, and He has a plan, and He will bring you out, as He's going to do, as He's going to do for them. He's going to appear in a bush to Moses, tell him who He is, send Moses back, and bring the people out. When things are at its darkest, you can trust God.